சர்டிஃபிகேட் ஆட் பண்ணிடலாம் சார். ஓகே 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 தான். இது வெக்கேஷன் எடுக்கிறேன்.
So Kumar, hello. So Kumar, I think came here. Yeah. So my voice is audible. Hello.
Audible, sir.
Okay. Ashok Kumar has joined, ma'am.
Madam.
Krishnan.
Sir, good morning, sir.
Good morning. You do accept the participants.
Sir.
The participants accept கொடுங்க.
Sir, good morning, sir. Sir, சொல்லுங்க சார்.
Participants வந்து accept கொடுங்கன்னு admit கொடுங்கன்னு.
சார் எனக்கு அந்த இது ஒன்றும் இல்லைங்க சார்.
இல்லையே கொடுத்துருக்கேன் நான். மேம் சொல்லுங்க. மேம்
சார் நான் ஃபோன் பண்ணிக்கிறேங்க சார்.
எதுக்குப்பா? அந்த ஃபோன்ல பண்ணுப்பா. அந்த ஃபோன்ல பண்ணு. சொல்லுப்பா. அட்மிட் உனக்கு ஓகே ஆகும். சரி. இது யூடியூப் ஒர்க் பார்த்து.
వచ్చింది క్లాసు. అది
All the participants are requested to mute your mic. Nagarajan sir, please mute your mic. Hello. Hello. Hello.
சார்
பக்கத்துல மொபைலும் ஏதோ ஒண்ணா வச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா ரெண்டு மைக்கும் இதாகும். ஒன்று ஆஃப் பண்ணுங்க.
ஓகேங்க
ஓகே.
ஓகேங்க சார் ஓகேங்க ஓகே
இட்ஸ் ஓகே. ஹலோ.
sir.
மைக்
Hello.
லேப்டாப் மைக் பக்கத்துல வச்சிருந்தீங்கன்னா 2 லேப்டாப் வச்சிருந்தாலும் லேப்டாப் பிளஸ் மொபைல் வச்சிருந்தாலும் சவுண்ட் வரும். ஏதாவது ஒரு மைக்கை வந்து மியூட் பண்ணாதான் சவுண்ட் வராது.
இல்லை sir.
ஓகே மேடம், ஆரம்பிச்சிடலாமா?
Sir.
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிடலாமா?
Okay sir. Start program. Sir, start பண்ணலாமா?
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுங்க மேடம்.
Okay sir.
ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணிருங்க ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை.
Okay sir, thank you. Very good morning all of you. I welcome you all for this one-day national level webinar on aquaculture and its potential and entrepreneurial approach, organized by Postgraduate and Research Department of Zoology, Arulmigu Palaniyandavar College of Arts and Culture, Palani. I am sure that this webinar will provide culture, thus reaching an appropriate conclusion for future. Before that, I invite our energetic and enthusiastic head of the department and the convener of this webinar, Dr. Sri Kondivan, Associate Professor, to deliver his formal welcome note. Sir.
Yes, ma'am. Very pleasant good morning to one and all. On behalf of the college management, teaching, non-teaching, supporting staff and students of postgraduate and research department of zoology of Arulmigu Palaniyandavar College of Arts and Culture, Palani, I take immense pleasure to extend a hearty welcome to one and all to this one-day national level webinar on aquaculture and its potential and entrepreneurial approach. Now we are delighted to welcome our distinguished invited speaker, Dr. P. Ashok Kumar, Regional Manager, Aqua Division, South India in charge, R&K Agro and Chemicals Private Limited, Hyderabad, India. Dr. P. Ashok Kumar is a dynamic personality in the field of aquaculture. Sir, we welcome you, sir. Now we are delighted and it's a great pleasure. Now we are delighted and it's a great pleasure to welcome our respected and beloved principal in charge of Arulmigu Palaniyandavar College of Arts and Culture, Palani, Dr. P. Prabhakar, who is always uncompromised in his commitment, devotion and dedication in his work, and we feel lucky to have such a hard-work personality to lead this institution and to show the right path to us. We welcome you, sir. Special welcome to Organizing Secretary Dr. R.V. Kalaimati, Assistant Professor, members of Organizing Committee members Mr. P. Muthukumar and Mr. N. Iswaran, most respected head of the departments, faculty members, students of various departments of our home institution and other institutions throughout the India and abroad. Now I am glad indeed to welcome once again all the participants for this national webinar. We sincerely hope this webinar will greatly catalyze such interactions among research scientists, scholars, academicians, students, and pave a way for scientific and healthy India. Thank you, one and all.
I am very happy and proud to introduce today's resource person. I feel deeply honored to utter few words about the keynote speaker of this session. I still remember my first batch biotechnology students in 1996. His face seems to be evergreen in my memory. Breathtaking grandeur of my teaching experience, a multifaceted personality, Dr. P. Ashok Kumar. I see his success to be connected with actions. He completed his BSc in microbiology at Haji Karathanautar Kaudya College, Uttamapalayam, Thane district, affiliated to Madurai Kamaraj University, MSc in marine biotechnology and PhD in marine biotechnology, microbiology in the interdisciplinary stream at Manoormaniyam Sundaranaar University, Tirunelveli. He has over 14 years of academic experience. He served as Associate Professor and Head of the Department of Microbiology and as director for the Division of General Studies at Sokoto State University, Nigeria for 6 years. He has served in Mekelle University and Adama Science and Technology University in Ethiopia, COMSAT in Eritrea, MVJCE Bangalore, SUSOT formerly called as AIDU Allahabad, and Muttayamal College of Arts and Science, Rasipuram. He has 17 years of research experience in microbial technology, marine biotechnology, and multiple antibiotic resistance. He has published numerous articles in national and international peer-reviewed journals. He has served as international examiner for PhD students of Manonmaniam Sundaranaar University, Tirunelveli, Periyar University, Salem, Bharathasan University, Tiruchirappalli, and Bharatiyar University, Coimbatore. He also has industrial exposure, especially in aquaculture, where he served in various capacities as country head for Trishul Biotech Private Limited, Chennai, head business operations for Boss Hatcheries, Puducherry, and now working as regional manager of South India for R&K Agro and Chemicals Private Limited, Hyderabad. He has visited several countries like Nigeria, Malaysia, Iran, Tunisia, Ethiopia, Turkey, Eritrea, Indonesia, Yemen, Nepal, Bahrain, and United Arab Emirates on academic, research, and business trips. He has visited several premier institutions of India and abroad. To mention a few are Indian Institute of Technologies like Kanpur, Bombay, and Madras, and Indian Institute of Science Bangalore, IIM Trichy, CCMP Hyderabad, NPFGR Lucknow, WAC Malaysia, and NIGEP Iran. He is a global outreach member in American Society for Microbiology, and he is a life member of Marine Biological Association of India, Cochin, Indian Association of Applied Microbiologists, International Society for Applied Life Sciences, Indian Initiative for Management of Antibiotic Resistance, and Royal Society of Chemistry. Awards and funding. He acted as a principal investigator for TED Fund sponsored research project on utilization of agro waste in production of single cell protein using Bacillus subtilis and Saccharomyces cerevisiae Sakata in Nigeria, and AICTE sponsored staff development program on marine biotechnology, MBJE, Bangalore, India. He also acted as a convener for MOEs and CSIR sponsored National Conference on Challenges in Biochemical Engineering. He got Best Teacher Award in MPJCE Bangalore and Best Oral Presentation Award in Second International Conference on Biotechnology, University of Tehran, Iran. He also received Best Poster Presentation in National Academy of Sciences in India and CFTRI Mysore. He also got one more student project sanctioned by Tamil Nadu State Council for Science and Technology in Chennai, India for the title Protection of Laxases from Alkalophilic Bacteria. I am delighted of his gracious presence to see his remarkable achievements, presenting papers, indulging in various academic activities, bringing name and fame to the institution. May the God Almighty shower his blessings in all his endeavors in the years to come. I ensure you all that this webinar will be profitable for your each and every aspect. Now the session is hand over to Dr. P. Ashok Kumar. Ashok, now you can share your screen.
Thank you, ma'am.
77 பேர் தாங்க இருக்காங்க. திரும்ப க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிட்டு லேப்டாப்பை எதுல பண்ணிட்டீங்க? நீங்க செல்போன்ல
Ma'am, can you see my slide? Ma'am?
Hello?
Yeah, sir, please can you see the slide?
Yeah. You,
Okay, sir. Okay, Ashok.
Can you see? Can you see it?
No?
So not
Can
visible,
the
sir.
screen be seen?
Not visible.
தெரியலையா?
Share பண்ணுங்க சார். Share. You can share the screen. So do you have a
One second. 1 second, sir. Can you see now?
yes sir, but
Sir, is it visible now?
yeah, okay sir now. Okay sir.
Okay, sir. Yeah. At the outset, let me thank our patron, Dr. P. Prabhakar, Principal, and convener, Dr. B. Kantiban, HOD, and organizing secretary B. Kalaimadi, assistant professor. And madam, your words were really encouraging, and I'm just recalling my old days. And thanks for such a wonderful and beautiful introduction. And I welcome all other staffs and participants from all over the country for this webinar. Let me start with a quote, a famous quote. Sir, am I audible?
Yes, audible sir. Audible. Yes, audible sir.
In the sea may be the most necessary. Yeah, thank you. The study of fish in the sea may be the most necessary of all our oceanographic researches, because we shall increasingly be made to turn to the sea as a vast food producer by the increase in the population of the world. And this was said by Gaskelin, and it was published in Man Explores the Sea in the Journal of Royal Society of Arts in September 63. It's a famous quote. And let me give you a brief about Indian coastline, so that you can get a glimpse of what we have, how vast Indian coastline is. India has an extensive coastline. It is around 8,118 kilometers, and it is covered by 9 states and 4 union territories. And the 9 states are Gujarat, Maharashtra, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, West Bengal, and the 4 union territories including Daman and Diu, Puducherry, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and Lakshadweep Islands. Okay, and in India, Gujarat is the longest sea coastline, whereas Tamil Nadu is the third, which occupies around 964 kilometers. You can see the map which depicts the coastline from West Bengal to Gujarat in the V shape. Okay, this is what Indian coastline looks like. And a brief statistics on Indian fisheries. The India in global position, it is third in fisheries, and it acquires second position in aquaculture. And the contribution of fisheries in terms of GDP is 0.91%, and contribution to agriculture in GDP is 5.23%, and per capita fish availability is around 9 kg. Annual export earnings is around 45,106.89 crores. And employment in sector is around 14 million. Okay. Then today, the topic itself says, it's all about the Indian aquaculture, its potential, and I'll be talking more about the entrepreneurial approach in these things for youngsters, how this aquaculture industry can be used as a potential place for entrepreneurships. Okay. So the topics to be discussed in this webinar will be: what is aquaculture, types of aquaculture, scope of aquaculture, benefits of aquaculture, importance of aquaculture. Apart from this, the second talk will be entirely on the entrepreneurial scopes in aquaculture. Here I will be discussing about farming, both the shrimp and fish farming, then shrimp hatcheries. This shrimp hatcheries will be the main part of my talk, and feed, probiotics and healthcare products, processing plants, aquaculture laboratories and technical services, then sales of aqua commodities. All these areas, these 6 areas which I mentioned, gives a wide scope for entrepreneurship in aquaculture area, in the field of aquaculture. Okay. Now, what is aquaculture? See, just to start again with some statistics, by 2030, around 62% of all seafood which is produced for human consumption will be coming from aquaculture. Okay, that is from sea or freshwater or brackish water, whatever it may be, but around 62% will come from aquaculture, whereas today it is somewhere around 50%. So now, hope you all can understand what will be the scope of aquaculture based on this statistics itself. Can we imagine? It is around 62% that we are going to get from aquaculture. Okay, then aquaculture is the controlled process of cultivating aquatic organisms. They are especially used for human consumptions. And to define aquaculture, it is nothing but the breeding, rearing and harvesting of fish, shellfish, algae and other organisms in all types of water environment. When I mean all types of water environment, it can be marine, freshwater and brackish water also. Then similar concepts to agriculture. This aquaculture is nothing different from agriculture. It is similar to agriculture, but here what we do is, instead of plants we use fish. Instead of plants and livestock we use fish here. Okay, then aquaculture is also referred to as fish farming. Aquaculture is happening all over the world in coastal oceans. Like as I said earlier, it is in 3 types of waters, like coastal waters, fresh waters, brackish water and freshwater also. Then this aquaculture helps in boosting the national economy by the way of increasing per capita production for per capita consumption and per capita income. So it is calculated based on individual consumption on his production and income. Okay, then oceans cannot naturally provide the demand for seafoods. Okay, so because it cannot, it can naturally provide, but all the times it cannot be naturally provided. Somehow we as a human being, we are involved in that. That is why aquaculture comes into play. Aquaculture is a tool to fill this gap of seafood supply. To create, it also generates employment opportunities also, and it properly utilizes the available natural resources. And here is some important informations regarding the nutritional aspects of the fish. Okay, so aquaculture production is highly resource efficient. We all know that. Okay, why all doctors they suggest eat shellfish or finfish, whatever it may be, because they have ample nutrition in them. So if you look into the thing, I have just compared. This slide is taken from Global Aquaculture Alliance, and you can see how the comparison has been made. The comparison has been made with the help of fish, hen, that is poultry, then pork, and then cow, that is beef. Then protein retention, if you look into the protein retention, the maximum is obtained from fishes, whereas the least from the beef. Then energy retention, again you can see the next to beef, fish has, when compared to poultry and pork, fish has the second maximum energy retention power also. Then you can see the feed conversion ratio, it is very, very less. 1:1. 1.1 is the feed conversion ratio. Whereas just if you see that, if you want to get, if you in 100 kg of fed animals, like if you want to look into the edible meat, you can see in fish you can get 61 kgs of edible meat from 100 kg of fishes. For example, if you take 100 kg of a catch, in that 61 kg will be edible, whereas in poultry it will be only 21 kgs, and whereas in pork it will be 17 kgs, and whereas in beef it will be 4 to 10 kgs. So now you can imagine, there is no much wastages or no much thing. You can see how potential this fish farming or shrimp farming or aquaculture is. Now, this aquaculture is also used to uplift socio-economical status of the people. Okay, and it also generates foreign exchange. Okay, because of export and export activities, it generates huge foreign exchange for the country. Then seafood is highly resource efficient. As I said earlier, fishes, they are highly resource efficient and energy efficient also. It has the highest protein retention, like how I told in the previous slide. It also has the lowest feed conversion ratio, that is 1.1. Aquaculture has, this is one more important thing, like nowadays, because we all are more aware about global warming and everything. So aquaculture has lower greenhouse gas emission than other types of farming activities which is done. Then this is also some interesting statistics that you can see. India, like I told in the second slide, India is the third largest fish producer and second largest in the aquaculture industry. Okay, you can see India produces around 10.8 million tons in 2016, and it is anticipated to be 13.4 million tons in 2030. Okay, that is projected. Whereas in aquaculture, the production in India will be around 5.7 million tons, and whereas in 2030 it will be 8.2 million tons, which is projected also. You can see this this graph, which tells you about the millions of metric ton that is produced out of aquaculture industry, and you can see in what stand India is. The pink coloration shows you where India is. If you look into the graph properly, from 2009 to 2019, the Indian industry, aqua industry, you can see how gradually it has been grown. I mean, it has been totally growing, and in general, all the other countries also, they have a wide growth in the market. Nothing declined, except in 2013 and 2015 there was slight decline in the field because of these recessions and all other problems. Otherwise, you can see how gradually it has been increased, and in 2019 you can see where it stands. Okay, and this is the projections, and now as per the projections in 2030, it can even lead the world also. India can even lead the world also. Okay, then this is the export market, how India has. The export market in 2019 is we have exported around 282,584 metric tons of aquaculture products to US. Then other countries where we have exported is China, European Union, Japan, Vietnam, UAE, and others. Other small countries, they also play a vital role in exports, in getting export commodities from India. Okay, in aquaculture, particularly in aquaculture. Then, when coming into types of aquaculture, this aquaculture is classified into two, especially marine aquaculture, or we call it as seawater aquaculture or freshwater aquaculture. In marine aquaculture, that is seawater aquaculture, they are again classified as mariculture aquaculture, metahaline culture, whereas freshwater aquaculture is classified as polyculture or mixed farming. We call it as composite fish culture or polyculture or mixed fish farming. Then IMTA, that is integrated multi-tropic aquaculture also. Then this, what do you mean by mariculture? Mariculture is a branch of agriculture which where they cultivate marine organisms either in open ocean or in an enclosed portion of the ocean, or even in tanks or ponds filled with seawater. This mariculture is completely, it's pure on seawater. Okay, here finfishes and shellfishes can be reared, including prawns, oysters, and sea plants like seaweeds, algae are also, seaweeds are also reared here, cultured in the salt water. Then mariculture products are used for cosmetics, like if you have heard about this oyster, that is pearls, where we get muttun sunam Tamil. These pearls are also obtained from this mariculture. It is an outcome of the mariculture. Then mariculture products are also used as fish meals for feed industries, especially for fish feeds and everything. This slide shows you the, shows the finfish like flounder and whiting, which is majorly cultured using mariculture technique, that is in seawater. Pictures, these are the cultured fishes. Then types of aquaculture, in that alga culture cultivation of algae, and there are two types of algae like microalgae and macroalgae. Microalgae, they include phytoplanktons commonly known as seaweeds, like and all these in Tertillaria, all these are examples of macroalgae. Then algae is most commonly cultivated in open pond system as well as closed pond system. Open pond system is nothing but ponds, pools, and lakes, whereas closed pond systems are nothing but they are covered. These ponds will be covered. Like when I'm coming to the following slides, you can understand what is a closed pond system and open pond system in the slides also. I will show you later. And this is alga culture. This is alga. You can see how brown algae is cultured, green algae is cultured. And the third picture shows you how algal culture is done in our own laboratories. Like for PG students, it will be helpful how we are culturing algae in our own laboratories. Okay, this picture shows you about algae culture. Then types of, under types of agriculture, freshwater. Nothing but it is one of the fast growing technique. Okay, here they simultaneously do other farming activities also. Say for example, like paddy will be grown, and in the paddy field, fishes also will be grown. Okay, so fast growing compatible species of fishes with different feeding habits are cultured together. You can it is like multiculture. You can, I mean, you can have several species cultured together in in other activities also, like agriculture activities also. This is most commonly done in West Bengal, Kerala, and everywhere. Okay. Then the next picture shows you how a freshwater aquaculture looks like. This is a typical fish pond, that is fish pond, which is taken from this river. It is in Andhra Pradesh. This is the typical fish pond, how it looks like. Okay. Then brackish water. Brackish water, what do you mean by brackish water? Brackish water is nothing but the mixing of seawater and freshwater area. Okay, brackish water areas are very rich in oxygen and planktons. Okay, so brackish water organisms to be mentioned, few like milkfish like Chanas, Latus calcarifer, Mugil, and prawns and mussels are also cultured in brackish water. And this this brackish water culture can be done in these 5 ways, that is tidal ponds, cages, racks, rafts, and rope culture also. Okay. And this rope culture is mainly used for for the oysters. Then including Scylla serrata, that is mangrove crabs, are also cultured in this brackish water areas. Okay, and this is how a brackish water farm and a brackish water locality looks like. The first one is the brackish water locality. You can see 2% they are casting the net in the brackish water, and the second one is how a brackish water farm looks like. Okay. Then IMTA, that is integrated multi-tropic aquaculture. This is something interesting where different species with various nutritional needs are combined into one system. Here there may be difference, like it is nothing but integrated. You can see like 2-3 fishes can be combined and in one layer. Then next to the fish layer you may have poultry rearing also. Then apart from, next to the poultry rearing you may have other bigger animals which can be reared also. Okay, so IMT uses the waste products of one species as feed or fertilizer from other species. Okay, because it is having a symbiotic relationship. The excreta or the waste of one particular species can be consumed as a food material by another species, which will support its growth. For example, seaweeds grows from the phosphorus and ammonia that fish and shrimp excrete. Then shellfish feeds on the solids that fish and shrimp produce. This is one of the efficient method, and it is environmentally and economically sustainable because the main reason is because it recycles nutrients. Okay, this is how a polyculture, IMT, integrated multi-tropic aquaculture looks like. The one you have like bags which are seen there. This is taken from abroad, and the other 2 are from India itself. Okay, you can see the third slide. If you see, you can see layers. In one layer it will be one species, in the next layer it will be another species, where one's excreta can be utilized as feed by the next one. Okay, this is how IMTA is done. Okay, then the next one is metahaline culture. Metahaline culture is it is nothing but, have you seen salt pans? Whenever you go through coastal towns of Tamil Nadu or India, you can see salt pans. During summer season, these salt pans will be actively producing salts. People will be working to get the salts. Okay. Then later on, after that, this salt pans will be like simply there. So instead of putting it simply, what they do, they culture brines, that is shrimps. They culture shrimps, which we call it as Artemia salina, which can be undertaken in these super saline salt pan areas also, because the salinity here will be more than 200%. The nauplies of Artemia, which are cultured there, can be served as a protein-rich live food for shrimps and other fishes also. Then the cysts are nothing but the dormant eggs of Artemia. They are formed under unfavorable conditions, also can lead, they can give a good foreign exchange, because this Artemia cysts, they are used as feeds in shrimp industry. I'll say you when I'm coming to the shrimp industry. Okay, I'll show you some pictures also in that. This is how an artemia looks like. The first one, like, have you seen some grains like sand particles? These are nothing but the artemia cysts. These are all artemia cysts. And the second picture down shows you, how an active salt pan looks like. And you can see a person working on the salt pan. He is extracting salt. Okay. And the topmost right hand side corner, this is how an artemia looks like. Artemia salina, we call it as brine shrimps. Okay. This is how it looks like. Then when we are coming to the scope of aquaculture, now itself you might have got an idea. Looking into all the things, you might have got an idea what will be the scope of aquaculture. Anyway, let me explain you. This freshwater aquaculture systems in the country has three Indian major carps and three exotic species also. The primarily three Indian major carps are rohu, katla, and mrigala, which we normally consume like freshwater fishes. Okay. Then apart from these three exotic species, they are silver carps, grass carp, and common carp. This is how they look like katla, rohu, mrigal. They look like this, and the silver carps are the top, including pangasius also. Then in recent years, probably in this 2 to 3 years time, you might have heard this word very commonly, pangasius. Okay, this pangasius is a common newly reared species, especially in Andhra Pradesh near in Koleru Lake. Okay, and this is due to its higher growth potential and ready market. It can grow very faster. Whereas when other fish species, if they take around 6 to 7 months, they grow very faster. This pangasius grows very faster, and mostly in all the hotels, you can whenever you go for asking fish, they provide this pangasius species only. Then apart from this pangasius and rohu, katla, and mrigala, giant freshwater prawns called as Macrobranchium rosenbergi, we call them as scampi in local language, scampi, and it has been a principal species. And now this scampi is adopted both under monoculture and mixed farming of freshwater also. Okay. This is the pictures of rohu, katla, mrgal, then pangasius and silver carp. Okay. Then when coming to the scopes again, in brackish water sector, I have two shrimp cultures, particularly Lithopenaeus vanami and Penaeus monorum. This Penaeus monorum was an early species which was done, and it is an Indian species. And now people are relying on this foreign species, that is Lithopenaeus vanami. They call it as vanami. If you're traveling through coastal areas, you can hear this term, or you can see bags everywhere like feed bags and vanami they say. Okay, so this is a culture mostly in India nowadays. This Lithopenaeus vanami, they call it as vanami. Okay, then given the wide spectrum of cultivable species and technologies available in Indian markets, the long coastline and favorable climate, this mariculture is likely to generate considerable interest among the coastal population and entrepreneurs. This is the area why entrepreneurs are coming towards aquaculture nowadays. They show interest towards aquaculture because one reason is you can generate good income, you can generate good profit here, and it's one of the profitable businesses provided everything goes well with you. Okay, we'll discuss what are those things in the future slides. In the present era of food insecurity, aquaculture shows enormous potential to feed the ever increasing human population. You know how drastically Indian population is increasing. It keeps on shooting up like anything. Okay, so in order to meet all these food for all the shooting up population, we are supposed to have a secured food system. That is why we are relying mostly on aquaculture. Okay, this is how the shrimps look like. The first one, that is we call it as tiger shrimps, that is Penaeus indicates, we call it as tiger shrimps. Then other ones are nothing but the recent, that is vanami, which you can see. All these things were taken from Andhra farms. All these pictures, you can see how beautiful it is. Okay. Then when coming to scope again, these aquaculture products can be utilized as feed ingredients also in the diets of different domesticated animals. Because see what happens, these aqua wastes can be dried and sent to fish meals, and it can be manufactured as feeds also, or else it can be also used as dry fishes like karwada. In Tamil we say karwada. Okay, all these things also we can use. The aquaculture sector has become a modern and dynamic industry, and nowadays because of this incorporation of IoT, like Internet of Things, like artificial intelligence is also playing a vital role in the aquaculture industry, where you can keep on monitoring. You need not go to the farms. You can sit in your office and you can watch all the activities which is going inside your farms or processing plants or whatever places it may be. So AI, that is artificial intelligence, also plays a vital role nowadays in aquaculture. Also, it is like technological oriented also. Then sustainable aquaculture is currently the need in India as elsewhere. See, whatever we do, there should be sustainability. So always people look for sustainable aquaculture, and whatever aquaculture you do, it should be eco-friendly also, in harmony with environmental and socio-economic status or needs of the society, which has to be evolved. Okay, that is much important. Then when coming into what is that economic benefits of aquaculture, they are benefited in two ways: economically and so when you look into economical benefits, they are like alternative food source, alternative fuel source, increase jobs in the market, reduce seafood trade deficits also. Then when it comes to environmental benefits, it creates barrier against pollution, reduces fish pressure on wild stocks. Okay. Then important, when you come into importance, like what World Fisheries and Aquaculture says, that is FAO, what they say is, like I said earlier, sustainable aquaculture is very important. Sustainable use of sea resources. Then conservation of biodiversity, that is eco-friendly. Then increased efficiency, more resources for less efforts. See, I mean, like I said earlier, you just in 100 kgs of fish, above 80%, the wastages are more than 80%. So you can imagine. Okay. Then reduced environmental disturbances. When you are doing aquaculture, you have reduced environmental disturbances. That is why this aquaculture is preferred also. These are the importance of aquaculture. Okay. Okay, sorry. Then let us come to the main topic of today's discussion, that is entrepreneurial scopes in aquaculture. Okay, when it comes to entrepreneurial scopes in aquaculture, I will be just, as I told earlier, we will be discussing about hatchery as a prime entrepreneurial approach, then farming as a second prime for entrepreneurial approaches. Then apart from that, you have aquaculture laboratories, then comes processing plant, feeds, probiotics and healthcare products, including sales of aqua commodities also. We'll see one by one in detail. Hope it's clear. Hope you are following. I am with you. So when it comes to entrepreneurial scopes in aquaculture, fisheries sector occupies a very important place in socio-economic development of the country. Like we have seen in many places, I have stressed this point, because it generates a foreign exchange and it gives source for livelihood for many downtrodden people like BPL people, all these things. Then the source of cheap and nutritious food. All these things makes this aquaculture field as an interesting field where entrepreneurs comes and pump in money. Okay. Then this like the data obtained from Indian Ministry of Commerce and Industry, it shows like shrimp production is increased by 31% between 2019 from 2018. You can see the voluminous increase. Like in 2018, it was only 6,15,692 metric ton, whereas in 2019 it has crossed around 8 lakhs. It has crossed to 8 lakhs and 4,000 metric tons. So it represents around 83% of total shrimp production in 2019. So you can see how it is increasing. Okay, and like I showed you one graph, there is always a steady growth in the total gross value in the aquaculture industry. So that is why people are coming towards aquaculture nowadays. Then shrimp exports grew by 8% to various countries, and it accounts for 5.23% share of agricultural GDP, like I told you in the first slide itself. Okay. Then in 2018-19 economic survey, it highlighted, let me read it for you, foreseeing the vast resource potential and possibilities in the fisheries sector. A separate department of fisheries was created in February 2000, which is called as Blue Revolution. Okay, that is integrated development and management of fisheries, and it was formed by Government of India with the schemes of fisheries sector into one particular umbrella. Okay, everything has been come into this particular word, Blue Revolution. Then focus on increasing fish production and productivity from aquaculture and fisheries resources also, like both inland and marine areas also. Then this World Bank. Now World Bank also has estimated around 62 percentage of fish for human consumptions, which will come from aquaculture by 2030. That is 62%, dominated by certain species like catfish, carp, and tilapia. Okay, then global tilapia production can be around 7.3 millions, which is almost double in the 2030. Okay, then the reality of world with finite resources and global population, you can see how it has been projected. It is projected to be hit at 9.8 billion in 2050. This 9.8 billion people should be consuming this above products, okay, and is playing an equally significant role in seafood consumption growths. Okay, then you can also see it has the growth is around 54 percentage in 2030 when compared to 2019, like I showed you in the former slides. Also, you can see these are all some statisticals which I wanted to support, like it will be an evidence for why people are thronging towards aquaculture. Okay, then now the main thing is, like when you're talking about entrepreneurship in aquaculture, it's like any industries. You will have a starting point like raw materials, then you will have an ending point where the consumer will be consuming. Likewise, in aquaculture also you have, like we call it as farm to table. In farms we rear. There are 4 stages of the production chain. They are like it will be starting from hatcheries and ending at the seafood counter in your grocery store. Like hatcheries are the place where all the seeds or fingerlings are they are produced and sent to the farms, which is cultivated there. Okay, so a hatchery is a place. This is the first stage in aquaculture production chain, hatchery, where breeding of fish and shrimp, hatchings of seeds, and rearing of fish shrimps through the early life stages happens. Okay, then once if it is cultured here, then it is transported to the farm where major growth takes place. This hatchery, it involves around 25 days time, and it will be shifted to farm where around 3 to 4 months all the animals will be grown in the farms. Okay, then apart from there, it will go to processing facilities, that is fish processing plants, where all these things will be cleaned. Heads will be removed, veins will be removed, it will be cleaned, and then it will be processed, it will be frozen and packed, and then comes to the food retailers or to any grocery shops from where we get it for consumption. We prepare, we cook and eat. Okay, now shrimp hatchery as an entrepreneurship scope in aquaculture. Okay, now we are coming to I'm first going to discuss about shrimp hatchery, then shrimp farming, and then labs. Okay, in shrimp hatchery, in India, we have around 311 shrimp hatcheries. Okay, according to the Coastal Aquaculture Authority, we call it a CAA. It is an organization which is functioning under Ministry of Fisheries, Animal Husbandry, and Dairy. Okay, these are registered to import specific pathogen free. What do you mean by specific pathogen free? See, for any culturing of any animals, you should have a broodstock or a parent animal. These broodstocks are called as parent animal. Lithopenes vinami broodstocks will be obtained from foreign countries, especially from Hawaii Islands. They will be obtained, and then it will come to Chennai. This Chennai is the entry port for India. For entire India, it will come to Chennai, and it will go for quarantine. Quarantine check there also, but they will check whether this animals, this broodstock which is obtained from these foreign countries, have come without any pathogens in them. So it should be specific pathogens free. Okay, we call it as SPF broodstocks. Okay, then the annual production capacity is of 45 billion PLs. This PL is nothing but post larvae. Okay, this post larvae is the one which is produced in the hatchery, and then it will be taken to the fish farms. Okay, now you are also having around 90 Nauplii rearing centers in India. Okay, which has a capacity to produce 8.12 billion PLs that are registered with the CA. Okay. Now this is how a shrimp hatchery looks like. This is how a shrimp hatchery looks like. You have seawater source at the top left hand side. You can see the seawater source. Either it can be pumped through water, or it can be pumped from the sea, or direct pipelines can be obtained also. Then you have filtration system where water is filtered. See, the quality of water is much important here. The quality of water determines the quality of the seeds which is produced from the hatchery. Okay, so it is much important. Now this is the general layout, and this is how an actual shrimp hatchery looks like. I have given 2 setups. One is abroad and one is in India. The first picture is somewhere in abroad, and the second one is in Marakan in Tamil Nadu itself. Okay, this is how a hatchery looks like. Okay, a shrimp hatchery. Then this is the ideal layout of an hatchery. You can see like how many buildings and structures it has, all these things. I'll show you the photographs also. This is how a shrimp hatchery looks like. You have algae rearing centers, you have the LRTs, everything will be seen in the future slides. Okay, hereafter it will be full of photographs where I will be describing, and you will not find any statistics hereafter. Okay, I think from now it will be very interesting also. Okay. Then the hatchery facilities. What are the functional activities that is taking place in hatchery? They are like water storage and filtration tanks, maturation tanks, spawning tanks, live feed culture tanks, larval rearing tanks. We call it as LRTs. Then packing and transportation area. Then effluent treatment plants or effluent treatment system. We call it as ETP. Okay. So this water storage and filtration, as I said earlier, the quality of water is much important in hatchery systems as well as in farming also, because these waters, they should be devoid of any pathogens. There should not be any pathogenic microorganisms in that. If there is pathogenic microorganisms, all the seeds will be infected, and you are going to culture the infected seeds again in the farm, and then you are going to pollute the ocean or whatever it may be. So water quality is much important, and you can see this water storage tanks which is pumped from the sea will be in a higher elevation point so that it can easily come to the LRTs. This is how water storage and filtration tanks looks like. You can see how it looks like. Okay, they will be slightly elevated. Okay, then maturation tank. This maturation tank, I said in the previous slide that these brood stocks are obtained from overseas, that is Hawaii they come. Brood stocks are nothing but the parent animal, okay, which are going to reproduce the offsprings. Okay, so these should be allowed for maturation in the maturation tanks. Okay, these dimensions and everything, it is okay, because in any books or in any articles you can find all these details easily given. Okay, so I'm sure this is how a maturation tanks look like. So the role of the maturation tank is you bring the brood stock, you put it in the maturation tank, you allow it to breed. Okay, so it is supporting the breeding of these brood stocks. Okay, and spawning activities also taking place in the maturation tanks. Okay, and this is how a brood stock looks like. This brood stock is nothing but the parent animal, which will be somewhere approximately around 80 to 100 grams, 80 to 100 gram in size. One particular animal, one particular shrimp. Okay, and there are certain processes which is used for the reproduction thing. Here the main process is eye stack ablation. They say eye stack ablation. Eye stack ablation is, before that let me show you some brood stock. This is how a brood stock is cultured in the shrimp hatchery. Okay, and you can see how big it is when compared to the farmed things. This one is slightly bigger in size also. Okay, then this brood stock, what happens, these animals, they are subjected to a procedure called as induced maturation, or we call it as eye stack ablation. The interesting thing is, what they do is they will cut the cut one eyes. Okay, unilateral ablation takes place in either right or left eye stack of the female animal. This eye stack ablation is done with a sharp knife or a sharp blade, which where you can use it for cutting. When this eye stalk is cut and thrown, what happens? It induces the hormones, or the reproductive hormones it induce, and faster reproduction takes place. That is the main role of this eye stack ablation. Okay, so there are some ethical issues also. People are now trying, the recent researchers, they are trying to avoid this procedure, that is to avoid this eye stack ablation without harming the animal. How is it possible for us to get the offspring? Okay, but so far they are in trial phases. They are trying to overcome this one problem in shrimp farming, and that is in hatcheries. Okay, and the sex ratio of this brood stocks will be like one male for one female. This is how it is maintained for effective reproduction. Okay, and this the next picture will show you how an eye stack ablation is done. You can see sharp knives are used to cut the eye stalk. The eye stalk. Okay, this will be cut, and then it will be squeezed. All these things will be squeezed so that the fluids come out and hormonal induction takes place, and then faster reproduction also takes place there. And then, as I said earlier, repeatedly I am saying water quality is much important in the hatchery system. Okay, whatever it may be, from the stage 1 to the last stage, water quality is very much important, because I said it should be completely devoid of any pathogenic infections what in any type. Okay, so it should be treated properly, it should be filtered properly, it should be sterilized and everything there. Okay, so it is one of the most important factor in hatchery, not only in hatchery operations, even in farming also. It must be regularly monitored for important physical chemical parameters also. Okay, so it has to be passed through UV treatment or salt filtration. Then disinfectants and cleaning chemicals can be used to clean the filters and everything. Okay, so that you always maintain a good quality of water which is supplied to the hatcheries. Okay, and this picture shows you a matured female and a matured male of Vanani. Okay, this is how a matured female looks and a matured male also looks like. Okay, I'm not going in depth into the taxonomy, the reproductive parts or whatever it may be. I'm just giving you an overall idea. And spawners. These spawners, before spawning, that is before reproduction, what do these spawners are treated properly. These spawners are usually treated with KMNO4, that is 3 ppm of KMNO4, potassium permanganate solution, or 25 ppm of formalin for around 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, then spawning activities takes place. Okay, this spawning usually takes place while swimming. Okay, and eggs are released from the genital pores into the maturation tank. Then sperms are also discharged into the water. Then spawning usually occurs. In the early hours, that is around in the midnight, like 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, all these things, the spawning happens. And the water temperature will be maintained at 25 to 30 degrees Celsius, and the salinity will be ranging between 28 to 32. Okay. Then egg collection and treatment. After spawning, the eggs are collected and they are treated also. The animal is removed. After spawning, the broodstock is removed and put it in a separate tank. Okay, and this is how a spawning tank looks like. This is how a spawning tank looks like, and an Artemia culture tank looks like. Okay, the one which is looking like a tub is nothing but the spawning tank. The other one on the top, center top, is Artemia culture tank, and in the right hand side bottom, this is Artemia. This is how an Artemia live Artemia looks like. Okay, this live Artemia acts as feed for the broodstock as well as for the Nauplies also. Okay. Then hatching and transportation of Naupli. After hatching, what happens now? All these eggs are hatched, and you get the small hatchlings like Nauplies, and this they are called as Naupli. Okay, this Naupli will be transported to the LRTs. Okay, so during this transportation process, two important parameters are to be considered, that is temperature and salinity. Temperature will be maintained at 26 degree to 30 degrees Celsius, whereas salinity will be ranging from 23 to 30 ppt also. So these are important things. And this eggs of most species of shrimp hatches within 12 to 8 hours after fertilization. Okay, then how is this transportation done? This transportation is done in two methods, like you can use plastic containers or plastic bags. Okay, so there are two ways here. This Naupli, it can be obtained from a Naupli rearing center, which is a different place. Or if your hatchery has a maturation facility, you can there itself you can do it, which will be adjacent to your LRTs. It will be nearby you, so transportation will not be a problem. But whereas if you are collecting it from a Naupli rearing center, then these things comes into picture. Okay, these plastic containers, they are only strong and healthy larvae can be transported. Okay, then the open containers are sealed to prevent leakages. Then 20-liter plastic containers can contain approximately around 5 lakhs of Naupli. Then survival rate after 6 to 8 hours of transportation, it should be more than 50%. So it means, in simple words, only strong and healthy larvae has to be transported. Okay, if you are using a plastic bag, each bag can contain around 6 to 8 liters of water, and this water has to be oxygenated because oxygen supply is important. Then the open ends has to be sealed. Then you can, in this plastic bags you can transport around 2 lakhs of Nopli. Then survival rate will be around 80 to 90 percentage, which takes around 4 to 6 hours during transportation. Then live feed cultures. See, live feed is also much important. Like I told you, these feeds are cultured. Like I showed you in the previous slide, how an Artemia is cultured there. Okay, so you can it can be cultured in fiberglasses, polythene bags, or in marine plywoods, or in concrete tanks also. So these live feeds are also important, like algae, live feeds like algae. You have diatoms, you have then artemia, all these things are live feed. This is how an algal culture looks like, how a live feed setup looks like. Okay, it can be either cultured in a round tubs like this. You can see this green colorations in that, it is nothing but algal blooms which is blooming there. And if you see to the next picture, which is a concrete tank, where you can see like dark brownish, I mean it's actually dark greenish, but in picture because of lighting you can see it looks like a brownish black solution, like molasses, something like that it looks like. Okay, this is how an algal culture tanks looks like. Okay, then comes the LRT. LRT is the main thing, that is we call it as larval rearing tanks. Here we culture all the larvae. Like now the Nopli has come into the LRT. You can see how big the facility is in the picture. You can see you may have several tanks there which can hold about 1 to 10 tons of water in that. It depends on the hatcheries. Like if it is a larger tank, it can accommodate around 50 tons of water, and if it is a smaller tank, it can accommodate maximum of 3 tons of water. Okay, so this is the place where actual these post larvae are grown. Here it will be grown from day 1 to some around like there are 3 stages, like Zoya stage, mysis stage, and PL stages. We'll see one by one also that. Okay, this Zoya stage is the primary one. Okay, so here in Zoya stage, like Zoya 1, Zoya 2, Zoya 3, it will be 3 days. It will be cultured for 3 days. Then it will be converted into mysis stage. After 3 days, it will be converted into mysis stage. This mysis stage also has 3: mysis 1, mysis 2, and mysis 3. Sorry. Then after mysis, it will be again converted into post larvae, which is called as PL. Okay, so these are the things. Now, this zoil stage, here the most important thing is using of feed here. Okay, because this feed will directly or indirectly reflect in your cost of production also. Then this zoil stage, it is a critical stage of larval rearing, and here the feeding like Skeletonema and Tetraselmis etc. are used here. Okay, or you can even use microencapsulated algae also here. Okay, then whereas in mysis stage, larvae at this stage starts to feed on rotifers. Okay, that is Branchionus plicatilis. Okay, then each mysis larvae consumes about 100 to 200 rotifers, or about 20 to 50 Artemia Nopli per day. So these are the main feeds which are used, like Skeletonema, Tetraselmis, then Branchionis, that is rotifers, then Artemia also, which are the common feeds. Okay, this is the picture. Next one will be the picture of these stages. Okay, just for information I have given how a Zoya looks like inside the tank and how a mysis looks like in a tank. Okay, so as I said earlier, there will be 3 stages of Zoya, that is Zoya 1, Zoya 2, Zoya 3, and there will be 3 stages of mysis, that is mysis 1, mysis 2, mysis 3. Then the final thing will be post larvae, which will be the transfer. These post larvae are the ones which are transferred to the farms, fish farms. Okay. So this post larvae, as I told, these are nothing but the adult shrimp which are being transported. Okay, they can swim perfectly now, and at PL1, that is stage 1, it will be approximately around 0.0008 grams, whereas in PL20 it will be around 0.02 grams. So keep in your mind, the normal transportation PLs will be around in the days of PL7 to PL15. This PL7 to PL15 will be the marketable size. So these are the stages where they are sent to or transported to different farms. See, normally these shrimp hatcheries are largely available in South India. That is especially in Pondicherry, that is Marakanam Chennai belt, and some in Andhra belt also. So quality seeds are produced from these sites, that is Marakanam belt of Tamil Nadu, and it is exported. I mean, it is transferred to different parts of the country, like Gujarat. Major customers will be from Gujarat, then from West Bengal, Odisha also, and even local customers also take, like from Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh also, they consume this thing. And this is how a nursery tanks look like. A nursery tank, this looks like in such a way. You can see where the PLs will be reared, that is post larvae will be cultured. Okay. Then comes aeration. This is one of the important thing. Like I told, oxygenation is much important for it. Even if you don't supply oxygen for 1 hour, you can see decline in growth, or even sometimes it will be fatal also. Okay, so oxygen is much important. This is how a blower looks like. This blower is the one which supplies oxygen for the hatcheries. Okay, so this blower, it gives oxygen. That is, it maintains dissolved oxygen concentration in the water. Okay, and always ensure that water temperature throughout the water column through turbulence is also maintained. Okay, I mean, this is for information. Normally oxygen is much important, and this oxygen is supplied through blowers. Okay. Then how are you going to harvest the post larvae? When you're going to harvest post larvae, as I said earlier, this PL7 to PL15 will be the marketable sizes. They are called as marketable size of an post larvae. Okay, and they will be harvested from the nursery tanks. The picture shows you how these larvae look like. If you take a teaspoon, for example, I'm saying if you take a teaspoon, and if the teaspoon is fully taken with this stone, that is pinkish colored PL, it can accommodate more than 3,500 live post larvae in that one teaspoon. So you can understand how small it will be and how it is marketed. Okay, and this PL can be harvested using scoop net or dip net or seam net. That is why I said that it looks like a teaspoon, size of the teaspoon. This size can be stocked directly to the pond. If it is taken at the stage of PL7 to 15, it can be directly stocked inside the pond. If not, you have to stock it in a nursery, then you have to rear it for 2-3 days, then you have to transfer it. You have to acclimatize and then transfer. Okay, so this can easily be transferred with oxygen in the tank. So oxygen is much important. Then how are they going to transport it? Method of transportation of PL. Okay, this PL can be transported in plastic or fiberglass or canvas tanks of a suitable transport size. Okay, it should be provided with aeration. As I said, aeration is much important. Normally, see, for example, if it is taken from Pondicherry or like Chennai, let us assume from Chennai, if it is packed and if it wants to go to Calcutta, it takes approximately 3 hours in flight. And before 3 hours, it has to, 3 hours I am saying flight duration. Then it takes another 3 hours to be transported from the hatchery location to airport. Okay, then from airport, from Kolkata, after 3 hours, it will be again transported to the place where the farm is located. So approximately 7 to 10 hours duration is there at the point of packing to the point of releasing those things in the pond. So approximately around 10 hours it has to withstand. So proper aeration should be given in the bags, which is accommodating all these PLs. Okay, so PL are transported in polyethylene bags provided with oxygen, and normally each bags will be having around 5 to 6 liters of fresh seawater, and each bag can accommodate around 3,000 to 5,000 post larvae in a bag. Okay, and this bag size will be approximately around 60 to 40 centimeter sizes. Okay, and this is how it is transported. These are the plastic bags. You can see these plastic bags which has the post larvae inside that, and you can see the vacuum. This vacuum is nothing but oxygenation. Oxygen is produced there, so you can see how bulky it is. Okay, so this can withstand for at least 10 to 12 hours of transportation times, and those these vehicles, we call them as insulated vehicles or air conditioned insulated vehicles, which is used for the transportation of these PLs. Okay, then this one is also much important. Like all other parameters was what I said. Maintenance of water quality. As I said, there is no compromise in this. Like salinity, temperature, dissolved oxygen, pH, and nitrogenous compounds has to be regularly checked, and they have to be regularly maintained. So this comes under the routine hatchery management. Not maybe there will be a dedicated employee who will take care of all these activities. His main job will be to look into all these parameters on a daily basis. I mean, not even in daily, like hourly basis also. Okay. Then feeds, like we have discussed earlier, these are the feeds which is supplied to the PLs, like Ketoceras. then rotifers, then Skeltonema, then Tetraselmis, then like I said earlier, rotifers and Artemia also. Okay. Then environmental parameters such as water, temperature, salinity and pH should be checked twice daily. Okay, that like I said earlier, a dedicated employee will be taking care of all these monitoring aspects. Okay, and this is how it looks like. The first picture shows you like Norply, this PLs, post larvae, and the size of the post larvae will be like this when it is zoomed, you can see, and the transportation bags and the transportation vehicles, how it is transported to airport. After airport, it will be taken through the flights to the destination. Okay. Then the last one is effluent treatment plants. Okay, this is much important. Now, a hatchery will not be permitted to run if they don't have an ETS, that is effluent treatment system in them. So even government, that is Coastal Aquaculture Authority (CAA), has strictly made it mandatory that all the shrimp hatcheries should have an ETS, that is effluent treatment system of plants in them. Okay, and this establishment of such system is necessary to bring the shrimp farm waste what is within the prescribed standard. See, because all these, say for example, if it is infected, if the hatchery is infected with some pathogen, and it should not be directly released to the ocean, where it will spoil or it will contaminate all the other native species. So it has to be treated properly, and then it has to be released to the to the main pond or whatever it may be, like ocean or something, because there may be several hatcheries around. So for example, if you look into let us assume about Tamil Nadu, that is Marakanam belt, here itself you have around 60 to 70 hatcheries very close by, just like within 1 kilometers you can find 3-4
Sir, the slide is not visible. Sir,
sir,
slide is not visible. So
give me a time, let me check.
your picture is visible, but slide is not visible now.
Sir, can you see it now?
No, sir. No, sir.
Sir, let me come for presentation once again.
Okay.
Sir?
Slide is visible, ma'am.
So, sir?
Wait.
Is it visible now?
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now let us come to the. Okay, this is how an ETP looks like. This is how an ETP. Sir, is it visible now?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Visible, sir. It is
Okay.
visible.
Yeah. This is how an
Yes, sir.
ETP looks like. This is how an ETP looks like in a shrimp industry. Okay. Now, this is all about shrimp hatchery. Now, the second part will be about shrimp farming, how it is done. Okay, like if it is shrimp farming, I am just giving it this from shrimp farms to dining table. When we are how we are going to consume it. Okay, the stages involved in this. Here, in India's shrimp farming industry, they are doing it in 2 quarters. That is first quarter and second quarter. That is winter. We call them as summer crop and winter crop. Okay. This first quarter and second quarter is called as summer crop. Third quarter and fourth quarter is called as winter crop. This is how it is done. Okay. And mostly this summer crop will be active season for PL stocking. Okay. And this is some. There are some statistics also you can see. this estimated percent of shrimp ponds area stocked in India in 2020. This is in April 2020. This was in Tamil Nadu, there was around 28% of stocking, and in East Godavari, that is Andhra Pradesh, 30, Gujarat 37, West Bengal 18, then West Godavari, Andhra Pradesh 24%, Krishna in Andhra Pradesh 30%, and Prakasam district in Andhra Pradesh around 29%. Okay, these are the percentage of shrimp ponds which has been stocked in India. Okay, and this is about this slide shows you about the price, how the price is determined. Okay, shrimp farm gate prices from March to April in 2020, how the price was. Because this price plays a vital role, because how much profit you are going to get. See, for example, if global market has a huge demand, then it means that you are going to get a huge profit. If the global market has less demand, then naturally you will be getting only less profits there. Okay, so this price is the one which determines your entrepreneurial skills or technical skills, whatever it may be, because you should be in a position to provide quality shrimps. Only if you provide quality shrimps, and that too of marketable size, then you get good profit here. Okay, so this picture shows you about the price variations like premium counts, all the things like premium counts, and the first picture A shows you the premium counts which are of larger sizes, and the second picture shows you medium counts which are, see, for example, these counts are calculated like 20 counts, 30 counts, 40 counts, or 80 counts. If this is nothing but, say, for example, let us say 20 counts, it means 20 pieces in 1 kilograms. If it is 40 counts, 40 pieces of shrimps in 1 kilogram. If it is 80 pieces, 80 counts, 80 pieces of shrimps in 1 kilogram. So you can understand the size. So the bigger the size, the bigger the price. The smaller the size, the smaller the price. Okay, this is how it is determined. Okay. Then in shrimp exports, India shrimp export is keeping on increasing. I showed you in the first graph. Like you can see, it is gradually increasing. In 2019, shrimp exports generated revenues of around 5 billion USDs. Okay, then this in our country is currently having about 366 MPDA approved seafood export companies also, with the 60 cold storage facilities. Okay, these are some statistics. And in March 2020, about 230,000 metric ton of shrimp were produced. From that, 180,000 metric ton, that is 78% were exported to various global markets. Okay, and this graph shows you the increasing trend of Indian shrimp exports in 2015 to April 2020. Okay, the last one is only till 2020. Okay, so then don't get shocked why it is very less. The data is only till April 2020. You can see every year it keeps on increasing. In 2015, you can see. Then in 2016, it has increased by 15%. Then 2017, 31%. Then 2018 by 8%. And in 2019, it has been increased by 8%. So you can see how gradually it is keeping on increasing. And you can see this, see the potential of aquaculture in our country. That is why many entrepreneurs are now trying to invest in the field of aquaculture. They are coming for these type of farming activities as well as hatchery activities also. Okay. Now, this is how a farm looks like. Like this shrimp farming. Let me describe you how activities are taken there. I mean, for example, let us talk about with 1 acre of land. If you have 1 acre of land, and this ponds are dug with all these earth engraving machines and everything, they dig it with human involvement also, and they produce. They construct a pond like Tamala sonu putta mariye ready பண்ணுவாங்க. They prepare a pond there. Okay, and this pond they plow, they clean all the things, they level it with all these earth moving machines and everything. They construct it. Okay, then they apply some chemicals also to make them very fertile and everything. Okay, and there are two types, like earthen pond itself, like it can be done in mud itself. If not, you can do PDP sheets also, like that black color sheets if you have seen. They also will be spreaded throughout the pond, and it will be the water will be pumped inside this, and then the animal will be cultured into this particular tanks also. Okay, there are two ways, like concrete tank or earthen tanks, or this type of polyethylene sheet tanks also. This is how it is done. Okay, then after this, pumping of water takes place. This pond, after digging the pond and after maintaining it, after keeping all the things perfect, now water is pumped inside this. After pumping of water, now algae will be introduced into the pond so that algal blooms takes, because feed is much important. Okay, for initial stages for this post larvae, feed is much important. So algae is introduced, algal blooms will be allowed to develop. When the algal blooms develop, then the animals will be introduced. So now from hatcheries, we were talking about hatcheries. These like how it will be packed. These packed post larvae will be coming to the farms, and they will be released in such a way. Okay, they will take to the pond in early hours or whenever it comes, and they will be releasing bag by bag. Each bags will be open and they will be released inside the ponds. And once it is released, then aeration and everything comes. Okay, this is how an active culture pond looks like. Okay, after the introduction of post larvae, we call it as after stocking. They call this procedure stocking. So after stocking, this is how a culture pond looks like. Okay, then after this, feed is much important. They introduce feed. You can see a man who is throwing the feed, because feed when you are talking about budget aspects, feed alone, the feed supplied to this particular farming alone consumes around 60% of your cost. Okay, if you have a budget allocation, 60% of your budget allocation will be for feed. Okay, which is supplied to the farming industry. You can see how he is supplying the feed. Then in the next slide, the right hand side, you can see how aeration is done. Again here, aeration is much important. Even if your aeration is stopped for 1 hour, your animals, that is your prawns, started coming start to float there also. So aeration is much important. Keep on, there will be backup generators. All these are investments, capital investments, we call it as these generators. You should have, even if there is frequent power cuts, you should have backup generators also. So aeration is much important. Okay, so then after all these things, you have fed the animal and the animal starts growing. Like for first 30 days, it will be in smaller size, then slowly it will be increasing. Every week you can see some progress in the size of the animal when it starts growing. And this we call it as check tray examination. Okay, so the technician comes, he examines, he takes the check tray and he sees how much feed is consumed by the animal. So this is how the FCR is calculated. That is, feed conversion ratio is calculated based on the check tray examination. Okay, so the technicians will keep on monitoring this. They will record it. So the lesser the feed conversion ratio, the more the efficient. You can get good profits in that also. So, okay, this is one of the important steps, like check tray. Sorry. This is how, you can see a technician who is examining the check tray there. Okay, you can see the size of animals now. While introducing into the pond, you saw that in the polythene bags, it were very small in size. Now you can see how lengthy it is. Okay, then the cost, when you're coming to cost, the major investment, these all are one-time investments. That is capital investments we call aerators. At least for 1 acre pond, you should have at least some 2 to 3, 6 aerators located in different corners. Okay, so that sufficient oxygen is supplied to that. Okay, the more rigorous the water is circulated, more amount of oxygen is generated also. And in the right hand side picture, you can see generators. Okay, as I said, if there is continuous power shortage or something, backup generators are required, where you have to immediately pump on, and aerators has to keep on running thing. Then apart from that, I said like 60% of your budget will be going for feeds. Like feed is much important. So total, because it starts eating too much, because if you want to provide a healthy animal, you should have good feed. And quality feed has to be supplemented. You have to check the nutritional aspects of the feed, and quality feeds has to be supplemented. This feeding and probiotics. Probiotics is much important, because this probiotics can maintain water quality, soil quality, and the gut microflora inside the animal also, like inside the shrimps. Okay, so this probiotics is like much important. Like how whenever we fall sick also, some doctors, they prescribe probiotics for us. Like probiotic usage is also important in fish farming and shrimp farming industry also. Okay, so these are regular investments. You have to invest in every cultures of all these things. Okay, then you have additional things like auto feeders and feeds. This auto feeder is nothing but a machine which if you dump everything into that, you can have timer and everything set on time intervals on what is a required feed. It will keep on spraying, or it will keep on feeding the ponds, like it will spray. So that is one way of investment also. Then you can see how the person is casting a net. The next thing is you are in a harvest stage. Now your animal has been grown. You have invested. I mean, you have stocked the pond. You have given them feed and everything. You have invested on aerators and all the thing. Now you are going to harvest. Harvest stage. This you can see how a person is casting the net and how he is going to harvest. You can see in the second slide how people are pulling the net and taking the shrimps from the pond. Then this is how after harvest the animals looks like this. Okay, in different things. This now this will be going to markets directly. This may sometimes go to markets directly. Like if you go to coastal towns or in any fish markets, you can see how it is sold. Or this will be again going into shrimp processing industries where it will be processed. I'll show you some pictures related to that also. And that is another type of business. This is direct business. You are taking from there and you are selling into the customers. That is processed and it is sold in global market. It is sent abroad or it is exported. Okay. This is how a shrimp processing plant looks like. You can see all here. Pakka security is taken. I mean, all the biosecurity or human security, whatever it is, pakka security, because here comes the major role, because this is going for export. The frozen seafoods are going for export. So even if you have any single count of microorganisms, let it be salmonella or vibrio or whatever it may be, your consignment is having 100% chance of rejection. And now EU norms, European Union norms, and American norms, all these are becoming very stringent. They don't compromise with any bacterial contamination. It should be strictly devoid of bacterial contamination. So all security measures are taken care here, and no make sure that antibiotics are not used in any of the stages. Let it be in hatchery or let it be in farming or even in processing plants. Antibiotics should be zero. Zero tolerance against antibiotics. That is much important nowadays. All the country and all the government are totally against antibiotic usage. Okay, and this is how the shrimps are graded. Now you can see how it is iced. It is frozen. The shrimps, the head and everything is removed, and they are passed to all these machines where it is frozen. And after getting frozen, they are graded based on the size. They will be graded. They will be graded, and after grading, they will be frozen packed. They will be packed into containers. Okay, this is how a frozen shrimp packets look like. Okay, which is ready for export, which will be ready for export. See, this is another type of investment or an business opportunity, like an entrepreneur opportunity, where huge investment takes place. But in Tamil Nadu, if you have gone to Tuticorin or in Ramnad, you can find these processing plants. And these pictures, for your kind information, it was taken in West Bengal from one of my friends' processing plant, okay, in Kolkata. Then this is grading and packing how it looks like. Okay, this is the shrimp processing plant. From here, it goes to our cooking. Our mom gives us delicious recipes using this fish or prawn or whatever it may be. This is how it comes to the dining table. Okay, so which is ready for human consumption. The other area of entrepreneurship scope in aquaculture is laboratories. This is one of the, see, as a zoology or PG or research scholars, what you can do. These laboratories need not have much investments. You can apply for government. In the latest slides, I will tell you about investment. I mean about the subsidies also. This is how an RT-PCR lab looks like, where water quality, shrimp quality, everything is regularly monitored. See, for example, if a farmer comes, if he takes the PL from the hatchery, he has to undergo all these tests. And if this lab certify that they are free from pathogens, then he can go for packing and he can stock it in his farm. Okay, so regular checking is much important, and regular monitoring is also much important. This is how a RT-PCR lab looks like. This lab is located in Marakan, amazing biotech lab. Okay, and this is another, I mean, this is also the same lab. where they do microbiological testing and water quality also. This is microbiological testing taking place. Then water quality testing like soil, water quality parameters like all the water quality parameters or physical chemical parameters has to be monitored also. Okay, this is water quality laboratory. All the physical chemical parameters has to be recorded and checked, and then you have to give the reports to the farmers, and if they feel that it is satisfied, then they go for farming. Okay, and this has to be done in regular intervals also. Okay, then what are the challenges? And this photo was taken in one of my friend's laboratory in Andhra Pradesh, Gudivada, Varadarajan's lab. Okay, and challenges and constraints faced by the farmers. See, normally you have market access issues, food safety issues, environmental issues. These are the common parameters. So you have to overcome all these challenges, and then you have to do the business. Since farming is highly fragmented here, traceability is very difficult. It is becoming difficult. That is why I said now IoT has come. That is Internet of Things. That is artificial intelligence is playing a vital role. So everything is, this scenario is getting changed nowadays. Okay. Then certification becomes unaffordable. Now all these things are getting changed because the government has given a dedicated ministry for aquaculture also. Okay. So all these things are getting changed, and even GIS mapping of farms is also done with the national remote sensing agencies. Then like barcoding system has also come nowadays for packed shrimp products, everything. Okay, then this is how a calendar, a culture calendar looks like. Like I said, in summer crop and winter crop, and in summer crop it is done in quarter 1 and quarter 2. Winter crop is done in quarter 3 and quarter 4. You can see how harvesting is done and when stocking is done. All these things you can see. This is the shrimp culture in India, the culture calendar, how it is performed in India in almost all, and it differs according to states. You know, see in northern states like West Bengal, I mean not West Bengal, this side in Gujarat and every places, during winter it will be extreme cold. So the stocking will be delayed. In Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, generally they go in the month of February. But whereas in Gujarat, Kolkata, and these places they go in the month of March only because of the extreme cold conditions there. Okay, so this is the culture calendar. Then there are certain institutions which are related to fisheries and aquaculture, which comes under ICAR. Okay, these are for your information. Any resources can be obtained here, or like PG students, because you all are PG students, you can even go for fellowships, or you can join for PhD in all these institutions if you are really interested in aquaculture. That's like Central Institute of Fisheries Aquaculture, then CIFRI, Central Institute Fisheries Research Institute, then CIFI Mumbai, then SIFT, Central Institute of Fisheries Technology Cochin, then CMFRI Cochin, then Kerala University of Fisheries and Ocean Studies Cochin, then National Fisheries Development Board, it is in Hyderabad, which gives you all the informations about fish farming and everything. Then NBFGR Lucknow, I had been in 2006 to this NBFGR Lucknow for a training, 15 days training there. Then Karnataka Veterinary, it's one of the excellent laboratories. Then in Bidar, that is in Karnataka, you have a veterinary college. Then in Maharashtra also, Nagpur, you have a veterinary college. In Kolkata, then Kakinada and Bhimtal in Uttarakhand, you have a directorate of cold water fisheries research. This is one more new thing. Okay. Then in Tamil Nadu, you have all these institutions like SIBA. In Chennai, you have Central Institute of Brackish Water Aquaculture. Then you have CIFNET, that is Central Institute of Fisheries Nautical and Engineering Training in Chennai. Then you have an university, that is Tamil Nadu J. Jayalalitha Fisheries University, which is in Nagapattinam, and they have their university departments in 3 different places like FCNRI, Fisheries College and Research Institute, one in Toothukudi, which was oldest thing, then in Ponneri New, and in Kalaignayar also, there is one. These are all institutes which is in Tamil Nadu. Then what are these schemes? The central government, there are plenty of central government schemes which gives subsidy for the entrepreneurs, upcoming entrepreneurs, or for startup companies and everything. They give subsidies like total outlay approved for the entire 10th plan period is 135 crores. Okay, and what are the components approved under the schemes? They are like development of freshwater aquaculture, development of brackish water aquaculture, then cold water fisheries and aquaculture, development of waterlogged areas, productive utilization of inland saline alkaline soils for aquaculture, then integrated development of inland culture resources also. Okay, these are some centrally sponsored schemes. Then what are the subsidies? What are the subsidies provided? The subsidy on these items is given only once you see different agencies or different governmental organizations has different subsidized schemes. Like it depends on if you're going for farming activity, the subsidy differs. And if you're going for shrimp hatchery, the subsidy differs. If you're going for laboratory, the subsidy differs. And if you're going for feed dealerships and everything, again it differs. So for everything it is different. You can see in their respective websites also. Then, what are the activities which are eligible for assistance and the quantum of assistance? Like, for example, I told different schemes like construction of new ponds, reclamation and renovation works of ponds, cost of inputs, then running water fish culture, integrated fish farming, aerators, pumps, and all machineries, then freshwater fish seed hatcheries like fish fries, then fish feed units. All these things are comes under because all these are eligible for assistance under subsidies by different organizations or schemes. Okay. Then training of fish farmers. Like normally academic institutions and research institutions, they do this. Even for this, they fund. Then establishing of freshwater prawn seed hatcheries. Then provision of soil and water testing kits. Setting of integrated units, transportation of fish and prawn seeds also. Okay, so then even for purchase of vehicles, they give subsidies. Then to conclude, primary responsibility of aquaculture is to efficiently complement wild caught fish options to increase the amount of seafood available. Well, as I said earlier, looking into the shooting up of human population in India, you are forced to have some alternate foods like aquaculture, which is going to cater the entire population. Because I said around 65% is going to cater. Then aquaculture has the potential to improve the health of our planet and health of our population also. Then our main focus is that it should be done in a manner that, as I said earlier, sustainability is much important. Then it should be environment friendly. It should be socially responsible. Then the activity should consider food safety and animal welfare also. So these are important parameters that we have to take. Especially sustainability is also much important. Then, so these were the areas from where I took the information for your reference. And thank you for your patient hearing. Any doubts and everything, I welcome. And this is one of the building. This is NFD building, which is in Hyderabad. It's an original building, which has been constructed in the shape of fish. This is fish structure of NFD building. National. Thank you, sir. Madam, over to you. If there is any doubts, I welcome.
One more question.
Sir,
So, one question.
Yeah.
After eye stock ablation is any infection to female prawn?
Sorry.
One question from the participant side.
Okay.
After eye stock ablation is
Yeah.
any infection to female prawn?
No, we keep all the things in a sterile condition. Everything is done in sterile condition. Okay, your eye stack, I mean, the blades or razors, whatever you use, your gear, gloves, everything is sterile. So you don't have any chance of contamination because that is the prime thing. If there is contamination, you are going to, because you know these brood stocks, they are purchased with a huge amount. It's not like just 1 or 2 lakhs. For a cubicle, they spend around 22 lakhs. So they perform it in a sterile environment, in an aseptic condition.
Another question. Do
Yeah.
you think monoculture of shrimps is considered as good source of income in aquaculture?
See, looking into profits, on profit point of view, if you're looking into profit point of view, monoculture may not give you too much profit. Even fish culture will not give you too much profits. Okay, it is only shrimp culture which gives you large profit, hatcheries and shrimp cultures. But still, it is advisable if you're doing it in a large scale, you may get good profits also.
Sir, while
Yeah.
coming to aquaculture, the parasite is maybe the biggest task, I think so. So, how can it be managed?
Sorry, can you repeat it?
Sir, while coming to aquaculture,
Okay.
parasite may be the biggest task to deal
Yeah.
with it. How can we manage?
Your question is not clear. Parasite?
Sir, how can be the parasite attack can be managed and be controlled while coming to an aquaculture, sir?
Yeah, as I said earlier, water quality is much important. I said when you are having a good water quality and everything, you are going to give a good, I mean, a good environment for its growth. Then your technicians, they just take all the things into their control. They have everything. They check, they verify, and then they screen, and only then they do. But still, there are some chances where there will be like intrusion of all these parasites also, which we cannot screen them thoroughly. But the technician's role is to look into all these things because when we are giving live feeds, there are more chances. But still, these live feeds nowadays, like they take Artemisia and they hatch it and then they produce it. So there you may not have any parasitic infections there. But whereas if you are taking this rotifers or if you are taking this algae or something, algae still it is reared in your own hatchery facilities itself. So there also you may not have such contamination. But only through this worms and other things you may have a chance of getting this. That will be taken care by the what is that your technicians if he is having sound knowledge. But see these things, there are certain unavoidable circumstances also. They consider this as challenges. Okay.
Hello. Sir, what about the freshwater shrimp culture?
Yeah.
I'm Professor Narajan from a Billionaire Institute of Zoology. Freshwater shrimp culture, will it be more benefit than marine shrimp culture?
No, you see, if you go to northern sites like Punjab and everything, you know how hard the water is. Even there, they do fresh culture. See, there is no, see, fresh water culture will be still cheaper for you, your cost of production, because you are pumping water and everything and it can be done there. If it is saline water, you have to be inside, I mean, close to a sea or something where your investment cost will be more. But fresh water, even if you are in a village, if you have a borehole, you can do it. It is advisable and people are doing it in northern part. Many people are doing, as well as in parts of Andhra Pradesh, like if you go to the Bhimavaram area, they do freshwater aquaculture, freshwater shrimp cultures they do. It is done everywhere
I,
and it's
okay,
profitable even.
I think if we favor the freshwater shrimp culture also, then therefore we can increase the 38% to more than 50% in India. Shrimp culture, isn't it?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, thank you. Thank you. Excellent presentation, sir. Excellent
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you very much.
Welcome, sir. Tamil students யார் வந்து தமிழ்ல கேட்டாலும் I can answer it, so don't feel hesitant please.
Sir, excuse me. Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Thank you for the session, sir. So wonderful.
Thank you.
Sir, nowadays biogenic amine forming bacteria or impact on fishes.
Sorry,
Biogenic amine producing bacteria.
Okay.
They have the impact on fishes. They affect the quality of fish.
Okay.
Can you elaborate about that, sir? Or is there any quality control for that?
See, I said no. For everything, we have these samples and everything are checked thoroughly. From the entry point itself, see, I said broodstock is coming from abroad, and when the moment it enters Chennai, it is quarantined there. It will be in the quarantine facilities for 3 days. They check it thoroughly and find out if there is any specific pathogens or something. Okay, only if it is pathogenic free, they will release it to the shrimp hatcheries. Then again, each shrimp hatcheries person, they will go and check for, using RT-PCR and everything. They will check if there is any other pathogen, cross check again. Then again, if there is infection, they will not go for stocking or they will not go for rearing. They will discard there itself. If not, again they will go for stocking. They will rear it. Then post larval, when it is about to go away from hatcheries, these farmers who are supposed to procure it from the hatcheries will go for PCR checking and water quality and all pathogenic checking also there. Okay. Then again, if they find that it is clear, if it is devoid of microorganisms or pathogenic organisms, then only they will take it for stocking. Then stocking sometimes, because of all these influx of domestic sewage or something, because that has to be totally avoided. But in some circumstances, because small farmers, they may not have huge amount to invest, so they may be doing it in their household premises itself. Okay, at that time you may have all these chances where it may affect your quality of the fish or shrimp what you are producing. But honestly speaking, all these things will be taken care by the farmer itself, because he is investing a lot and he will not take chances also. It will be, and frequent monitoring and frequent testing of all the samples will be happening. It will be very frequent. Not like once in a month or something. It will be very frequent. So they will have a clear control over the animal. Okay. Normally, like Vibrio species, like what you said, all these things will be coming. But if it is unavoidable circumstances, you cannot overcome that. So at that time, you are supposed to discard everything, or you have to discard it into the ocean, or you have to catch it.
Hello.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Hello. Hello. Sir.
Yes, yes. Ask the question.
Sir, this is Dr. Siri Balaji, sir, from Chennai.
Okay.
You're able to hear?
Yeah.
You're able to hear?
Yeah, I can hear, please. Yeah, I
Sir,
can
good
hear, madam,
afternoon, sir.
please.
Good afternoon, sir. This is Dr.
Good afternoon.
Siri Balaji from Chennai Presidency College.
Okay.
As far as the shrimp culture is concerned, shrimp culture is concerned.
Yeah.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Please carry on.
Okay. As far as the shrimp seed is concerned, when we are procuring it from another farm and when we are bringing
Yeah.
it to our wet lab, after few days we find that the seeds don't grow and
Yeah.
they are not viable. Now, when we are getting the seeds from another farm, how do we recognize whether the seeds are live or not, sir? Because I don't know whether they are faking us when they are giving the seeds or something like that. When they sell the seeds from, when we are getting the seeds from other farm, we don't know how whether it is in a good condition or not. How do we recognize this?
See, you can check for motility checks. Like you can see how speed it is. The motile nature of that particular seeds. If you just put it in a beaker, the seeds, and if you look against a light source, if you
Yes,
just
sir.
place it against, yeah.
Yeah, that is, you mean to say when it is in nauplius or in zoe stage.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what. After seeing that only we get the seeds, and when we put it in our lab, it is found that after 2 days or 3 days, they are not viable.
Okay. Maybe you should check for the feed. What is supplying lab, in the sense you have a big tank or a small tank which is properly aerated.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Everything is
Then
being done.
feed, what type of feed are you using? Is it like Artemia or
Yes, sir.
assist? Okay.
Artemia, Artemia.
Okay. Salinity, you have to check for the salinity parameters, dissolved oxygen.
Everything is pakka. Everything is pakka.
Okay. So now you are saying that your animal is not sounding healthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whether when we are getting it from, when we are purchasing it from the other farm,
Okay.
when we are purchasing it, can you give us some clue how to recognize whether the seeds which we are getting from the other farm is good or not?
Yeah, that is what I said. Even seeds,
Only
even
with the
normally
viability. Only with the viability.
viability, the most thing is you can check only with motility. Okay, at that first point when you're checking, because it should not go and settle at the bottom, or it should even
Okay.
float also. It should, if
Okay.
you look, if it is a healthy shrimp, like seed,
Okay.
I'm talking about seed, not about the, even for shrimp I'm saying, they will
Okay.
bring it in an oxidated bag. Like
Okay.
at that time you can see how fast it is swimming. If you just rotate it,
Okay.
or if you pour
Okay.
it into a bowl or a
Okay.
beaker or whatever it may be, you just stir it.
Okay.
You just stir it properly. Then you leave it
Okay.
for some time, and you can see how speed. The motility nature. And if it is
Okay.
a healthy animal, you can see that it is swimming very fast. Just
Okay.
produce a light source with your mobile or any sharp light source, you can see. That is the
Okay.
only way to check at the initial level. Then later on, as the days progress, it depends on you, because it has to get acclimatized. The salinity what
Okay.
they are giving and the salinity what you have, everything has to be cross-checked, and it
Okay.
takes some time for acclimatization. Then the feed nature, feed pattern,
Okay.
everything, then aeration, everything plays. But initially, if you want to check, this is the way how you check it.
And does the traveling period also reflect on this?
Traveling period, see, normally, as I said, if it is in PL, what is the stage that you're taking PL? Can you PL 1 or 2 or 3, or what is that stage? Usually, see, for farming, we give it in 7 to 15, I said. So 7 to 15 PL, it can withstand up to 10 to 12 hours if it is properly aerated, properly oxygenated. And if it is properly sealed, it can withstand up to this thing. But still, you may have some shock or stress for the animal, because you are keeping it in a closed environment. Okay, but still, the survivability will be around 80% while transportation. If it is very less period, you may not face these issues. I am talking about 10 hours time duration for transportation. Say, for example, if it is taken from Markanam or from Chennai to Kolkata, you can see that will be the longest trip that ship
Okay.
will undergo. So
Okay.
that time it can withstand still 10 to 12 hours. 12 hours is enough time, because it is withstanding also. But still, there may be certain percentage of mortality, which is
Okay.
negligible.
Thanks a lot, sir. Very informative
Welcome.
session. Very informative session, sir.
Thank you. Welcome. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Madam.
Okay, sir.
Yes,
Conclude
yes.
பண்ணலாமா அசோக்?
Okay, okay. Any other questions from participants? Any other questions? Okay, madam, proceed. Okay, madam, proceed.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Good afternoon to all. On behalf of APA College of Arts and Culture, Palani, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks to those who have directly or indirectly involved in this webinar on aquaculture and its potential and entrepreneurial approach organized by PG and Research Department of Zoology. At the outset, I thank our resource person, Dr. P. Ashok Kumar. We are really enlightened with our knowledge and presence. We are thankful to our Honorable Secretary for their motivation. I would like to thank our principal for his enthusiastic support. I would like to thank our beloved HOD, Dr. C. Kondiman, for his moral support and guidance, as no program can become successful with a single person. So, a special thanks to our department staff for their unflinching support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to participants and our students for active participation. I extend my thanks to our students Krishnan, MSc, and Visurya, PhD scholar, MK University, for their entire help of this webinar. Thank you to all for making this webinar successful. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of the webinar. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir.
Hello, sir. Ashok.
Uh, uh,
Madam.
நல்லா இருந்தது
Thanks a lot.
செஷன் சூப்பரா இருந்தது.
thank you. Presentation is very nice.
Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot, sir.
Very informative.
Thank you, sir.
Nearly 200 participants were participated.
Oh,
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
sir.
yeah. In Google Meet, nearly 90. In
Okay.
YouTube live streaming, there are 100 and above.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for
Thank.
inviting. Thanks for giving an opportunity.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot. Madam, Ramba, thanks, madam.
ஓகேப்பா சந்தோஷம். அசோக். ஓகேப்பா
சரிங்க.
தேங்க்ஸ்ப்பா. நான்
Thanks.
லைன்ல வரேன் அசோக்.
Thank you. Thank
Okay,
you,
madam.
madam.
Yeah.
Thank you, madam. Thank you,
Thank you,
everyone,
thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
ஓகே சார்.
Thank you very much.
ஓகே சார்.
Okay, ma'am. நான் கிளம்புறேன்.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே அசோக்.
Okay.
ஓகேப்பா தேங்க்ஸ்ப்பா.
Welcome, madam.
சார் ஓகே சார்.
Okay, madam. Close பண்ணிடலாமா?
க்ளோஸ் பண்ணிடலாம் சார்.
Okay,
நல்ல
okay.
ரெஸ்பான்ஸ் இல்லை சார்.
நல்லா response. Okay.
ஓகே சார். ஓகே. Sir,
Somebody need a feedback link. It will be posted in chat box. Thank you.
sir.
Okay, madam. Okay.
Okay, sir.
The feedback அனுப்பிச்சிட்டு இருக்கேன் இதுக்கு
Okay,
யூடியூப்ல
okay, sir.